Hello everybody, my name is MK and I would like to welcome you guys to a brand new video. Now today I have some good news and I also have some good news. First of all, lighting changes. I'm completely front lit right now. I'm going to be getting another light kit that has it's like 800 watts in each of the light kits. These are 45 watts each. They only have one bulb in them, and the softbox goes around them. So that they're not as bright as like a good high quality lighting kit, but I'm going to get a good high quality lighting kit that we can roll with and we can do things. And by the way, this is not a that is a bite. I think it's a mosquito bite. It is annoying me like hell. And it's so inflamed and everything. It's annoying. But hopefully, guys, it's like this front lit kind of deal where I'm completely front lit and the back behind me is all dark and stuff. And there's no noise actually back there because I have the ISO at 100. I have it at 100. Don't tell anybody. It's okay. I'm joking. So anyway, today I'm going to be showing off my laptop. I'm going to be giving you guys a little bit of a setup of what it looks like and all that kind of stuff, so that you guys can see it and all that kind of stuff. And also in the comments, let me know what you think about the lighting. If you like the front lit stuff, or if you prefer that the entire thing be light up. I personally prefer it like this because it separates me from the background. But just let me know. And I will change accordingly to your guys' wishes because I love you guys. You guys are everything to me. I'm a fucking dork. But yeah, let's jump right into this.
So inside this red sexy beast, we have a AMD quad-core A6 5200 APU clocked at 2.0 GHz with a 2 MB L2 cache, 4 GB of DDR3L RAM, with an AMD Radeon HD 8400 graphics integrated into the APU, a 500 GB hard drive running at 5400 RPM, a CD drive.
So let's just jump right in and get down to the tests. Now I am going to be testing a few different games. I'm going to be testing Tomb Raider, Max Payne, South Park: The Stick of Truth, and Star Wars: Knights of the Republic 2, because Star Wars: Knights of the Republic 2 is actually more intensive than the first game. So if you can run the second game, then you can run the first game. Now, I did get this off eBay for $120. I believe it retails for around $200, and I also believe they're discontinued because it has the R3 Radeon graphics, which are a few generations old now. They're on the R7 ones, but it runs pretty well. So let's just jump right into those tests that I was talking about again.
Okay, jumping right into Max Payne here. This game is so awesome. It has a great story and it's so much fun.
Anybody home?
So as you can see, we're getting a very good frame rate,
front row center,
averaging about 50 to 60 frames per second to most people, with the true average being 57 frames per second, with the high being 120 and the low being 45.
Something ugly.
I did notice that a lot of times whenever it dropped down into the 40s, it was because it was stuttering. That could be because of the fact that it only has 4 GB of DDR3L. I intend on upgrading to 8 gigs of DDR3L in the future.
Listen,
but I wanted to show you guys exactly what I got out of the box. So this game is definitely more than playable, and I would highly recommend it to anybody who is a fan of noir thrillers, action games. It's extremely fun, and you can basically play it on anything. Okay, so moving on to Knights of the Republic 2. Now this is where things are going to be a little bit weird. So Knights of the Republic 2 is a very weird game in that it runs fine during some stuff and then it doesn't during other stuff, even on a beefy computer like my own. It's a very weird game, and I think personally that something as low as 20 frames per second with this game is playable because it is a turn-based game. Some people won't agree with that. So let's get into the peak performances. So as you can see, we're getting about 30 frames per second on average, with the actual total being 29.8 frames per second on average. I did calculate this one down to the points because it kept jumping between 29 and 30, so I calculated all the way down to the points, with peak being 42 frames per second and the low being 18 frames per second. Now, a lot of people will say that this is completely unplayable, but this is kind of how it ran on the original Xbox version, and a lot of people played that. I'm gonna have to say that this is 100% playable, and I would probably not play it on this because I do have a better option, which is my computer. But if I was out somewhere and I wanted to play some Knights of the Republic 2, I would more than happily do this. Now, that being said, the first game does run a lot better, so you're more likely to get awesome performance out of that game. I did not test it because it's not as extensive as Knights of the Republic 2 is. It runs a lot better. It has a few less graphical errors in it and all that kind of stuff. Now, I did notice stuttering. So jumping right into Tomb Raider here, as you can see, the game, first of all, is ugly because I had to turn the settings all the way down. Secondly, it runs awfully. I'm not going to even say anything about this because it's clear that you cannot play Tomb Raider on this, even though it does meet the minimum requirements of the game. I would not recommend playing on it. It's not an enjoyable experience. I even had trouble aiming at stuff because the frame rate was so bad. So for the peak frame rate, we got a grand total of 31 frames per second. And for the lowest it went was 9 frames per second with an average of 19 frames per second. Awful, awful. Obviously not playable at all. The target frame rate is 30 frames per second, and I think that even 24 frames per second could be considered playable. But this is not playable, so I'm just gonna move on. Moving on to South Park: The Stick of Truth. Now, this game is so funny. It's so much fun. And I highly recommend it to anybody who's a fan of the show. It is almost like being put right into the episode of a show. So, for this, the engine is actually locked at 30 frames per second because that is how it's made. So the goal here was not to see how many frames per second we could get, but rather how close could it stick to that 30 frames per second mark. And it did a pretty good job, to be honest. There was some stuttering here and there, again, probably from the lack of RAM that I have in the computer. And I did notice a few weird flickering issues with my character, which could probably be solved by the same thing. A RAM upgrade probably fix everything. But other than that, I noticed that it was a good playable experience, and all the settings were on high and everything. So I could happily play the Stick of Truth on this laptop, play it all the way through, of course, in sessions, and I would be completely happy. So the peak frame rate was 31 frames per second, which only happened for a brief moment, with the low being 22 frames per second from a particularly bad stuttering phase, with the average being 30 frames per second, meaning that it held that 30 frames per second more consistently than it did stutter. So, if you are looking for a nice laptop and you want to play Stick of Truth, this is the one for you.
Okay, so there you go. There's the test with my brand new laptop. Now, to explain why I got this laptop, for one, I've had a gaming laptop for a little while now. It's not a big secret that I've had a gaming laptop, but the thing is that the thing is fucking heavy. It's like almost 20-pound laptop, and it's hard to lug around, and it's just in general a pain in the ass. So I wanted something a little bit better, or something a little bit more portable that I could still game on and still do some stuff on, like I don't know, just do stuff on, play video games and stuff like that. And my previous computer that kind of was my more light gaming was a piece of fucking shit. It was old, and it was starting to break and all that kind of stuff. So I decided to buy this. And yeah. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end that video here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Also, let me know again what you think about the light completely in front and the dark behind me. The light's on right now, but that's because I was doing those computer porn shots. That's the only reason why those are on. But I intend on using this from now on, and whenever I get that other lighting kit, I'm going to fucking light up my face. It's going to be so sexy. So yeah. So thank you everybody so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a big thumbs up. If you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. Check out some content I create, including the links that you will see along the screen here at the end of the video. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.